It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 for another Monday night boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish Cry Eagles, now known as NFL Power Ranking number 2 team in America. Drew, how are you doing?
I'm good. Be honest with you, they won the Super Bowl yesterday, and we'll see them again. And we'll probably be a lot fresher and everything, and we'll probably see a different game, hopefully, if these coordinators get their shit together.
Yeah, that's right. I was chatting with some Kansas City Chiefs fans, and they were giving me the congratulations on that. But we all know it's not the end of the season. We all know playoffs is a completely different story. And I just have a feeling we're going to see you again in the NFC Championship game. Again, a rematch of last year. And wouldn't that be something well, I was actually daydreaming. Wouldn't that be something if my 49ers, the first year I moved to Las Vegas, come to the Super Bowl right here in my backyard against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then we squash Patrick Mahomes even better than the Philly Eagles did.
I don't know, Dave. I don't think that's going to happen, man. I really think that you guys won your Super. I think you guys invested most of your year in this game, and you got your Super Bowl. To tell you the truth, a lot of people didn't really expect the Eagles to win. I expected them to win. I picked them to win, but I didn't expect them to win like that, to lose like that. But I think a lot of things factor into it. Bad game play calling on both sides, no adjustments, but that's what happens also when you play 3 great teams in a span of 10 days, and the Niners played 1 team.
Okay. We will get to that on Tailgate Wednesday. And Drew and I, just to remind everybody, had a wager on the 49ers versus Eagles game, and the bet is going to be paid off next Monday right here on the Shoe Shine, which was interesting because when I realized that, oh man, Ryan Garcia pulled off the big win, he did it. He temporarily shut up his critics. At least most of his critics have temporarily been silenced or, had to come up with some good rhetoric this Monday. But Drew will have to praise Ryan Garcia all of next Monday and Canelo Alvarez. And I'm not even sure who else, but I'll settle for that, Drew. You just have to, all of next Monday will be dedicated to praising Ryan Garcia and Canelo. I think it's going to be funny because next week we'll be talking about Devin Haney and Regis Prograis, which takes place this weekend. So I'll have plenty of opportunity to make Drew Evo praise Ryan Garcia. And guys, I mean, I know the show we did last Thursday got significantly better views than the Shoe Shine, and I'm happy on that. Ryan Garcia brings people to the table, including even our small channel. Shout out to everybody joining us. Ryan, Nando Lamas, Chicano Prophet, Mom Food, thank you so much for joining us. I'm totally enjoying your Christmas vlogs. And by the way, guys, the reason why I'm late today, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but my iMac that I use to stream is a 2013 model. This thing is freaking old, but it was like the baddest iMac you could buy in 2013. And I was processing, I'm trying to get into content creation. I think I did some fun video this weekend, and I was actually trying to render it in 4K while getting ready for the shoe shine. And this thing completely slowed down to a snail's crawl, Drew. I think I'm lucky if this computer doesn't crash midstream. We kind of saw a hiccup a week before, but the deal is I got to upgrade. I've got to upgrade, and I need a 27-inch monitor. What is wrong with Macintosh not bringing back the 27-inch monitor, Drew? I'm blind as a bat. I'm not sure what Drew's doing.
It's a snail.
Oh, snail space. Yeah, slow motion. What's up? Shout out to Run PMC joining us, guys. It is Monday after the big Ryan Garcia fight. Some of you who follow me on Instagram saw that I went down to the casino on Saturday and I made a $20 bet. I was actually really high on Oscar Duarte being able to pull off this upset. I said it on the round table. But before making that point, I also let it be known that Oscar Duarte had never faced anybody of the caliber of fighter as Ryan Garcia. We had never seen him been chin-checked by anyone that hits as hard as Ryan Garcia. We've never seen him fight a guy with the hand speed of Ryan Garcia. So I always leave myself a little plausibility to deny, plausibility. But I really thought Oscar Duarte could pull off the upset Thursday on Joe Habib's Ringside Reporter. I said that. Then comes Friday, Drew, and the weigh-in, and I find out that it was undisclosed to the public that Ryan Garcia had made the contract for 143 pounds. Weight matters. Weight absolutely matters. Yes, I was high on Oscar Duarte on Thursday. I watched plenty of his fights live on DAZN on the undercards. I went back and watched his tape. I did some film study, and I was high that he could potentially pull off an upset. He's a very hard puncher, Drew, at lightweight. I can remind you guys of some very famous fighters who moved up 2 weight classes, because going up from lightweight to welterweight to essentially just coming in under the welterweight limit. How about Juan Manuel Marquez versus Floyd Mayweather, Drew? Moving up from 135 to a catchweight Floyd did. Juan Manuel Marquez is no scrub. He's one of the greatest Mexican fighters of our prior generation. And Floyd took him to school. Floyd made him completely ineffective. Juan Manuel Marquez had zero power, moving up just 8 or 9 pounds. Oscar Duarte also forced to move 8 or 9 pounds just to accept this fight with Ryan Garcia. Again, not known to the general public until this Friday. I got another example of somebody moving up 2 weight divisions. How about Leo Santa Cruz moving up from featherweight to face Tank Davis? Almost 2 weight classes he jumped up. Looked pretty good for a few rounds, right? Power wasn't doing shit to Tank. Eventually, it ended the exact same way as we saw Saturday, with a KO stoppage. A brutal KO, not quite as brutal. But Oscar Duarte, he failed me nonetheless. And quite honestly, I'm having a hard time accepting that he didn't quit. That he didn't get up intentionally knowing that he wasn't going to beat the count. He's not the great next Mexican fighter of his generation at lightweight. That remains to be, it's probably going to be, if it's an Oscar's Golden Boy boxing, it's going to be William Zepeda, but it's not going to be Oscar Duarte, who had the time to get up and try to go out on his shield and just didn't. That being said, let me Drew, take over.
I'll be honest, man. This is like the fourth time Ryan Garcia mysteriously changes the rate on the weigh-in or close to the fight and everything. Ryan Garcia is a weight bully. That's what he is. If we look at it, he took a page out of Tank Davis's book and used it to his advantage. That thing with Tank Davis is a piece of his own medicine, taste of his own medicine.
Right. He had to melt whatever, agree to what, 136 or whatever. And he was completely ineffective. And this time the tables turned, and a quiet, little known fighter in Oscar Duarte from Chihuahua, Mexico, accepted the challenge, and he didn't rise to the occasion. I heard today, a lot of faults are being found with Ryan Garcia's performance despite coming up with the stoppage. But today, Paulie Malignaggi, just shortly ago on Pro Box TV, he laid into it on Oscar Duarte. He said this was the biggest moment of your life, the type of opportunities that probably come less than one handful in your entire life, and you didn't rise to the occasion. You didn't beat the count. You didn't fight the way you did in round 5 and 6, rounds 1 through 4. You essentially let Ryan Garcia control you with that jab and with a little bit of boxing. There was some improvements that we saw. Let's talk about that, Drew. Finally, under new Derek James, people were saying they've seen some adjustments and some improvement in his game. And I think he handily did win rounds 1 through 4.
I'm sorry. No, he didn't. This was not improvements. There was no fucking improvements made. This was worse. Like, he did a fake ass wannabe shoulder roll.
The Philly shell.
And that was not the Philly shell. That wasn't even close. I don't know what the fuck was that. That was not a shoulder roll. That was fucking a bad fucking roll. That like, seriously, you would think a fucking bootleg amateur was fucking doing. And you got a fucking dumbass pro boxer that was commentating, Sergio Moro, called it a shoulder roll. Come on, man. That wasn't a shoulder roll. That fucking shit looked terrible. If that was a shoulder roll, then what the fuck am I watching? Because I tell you, that wasn't a shoulder roll. That was like the dude. If anybody watched Mad TV and you got Orlando Jones as the teacher doing this and everything, then doing that with the blackboard, that's what that fucking was and everything.
Timothy Bradley said he did that in his first amateur fight at the age of 10. And that, quite honestly, he just looked like he was a scaredy cat. But
seriously, like, it looks like he put his back to him most of the whole fight, thinking that he had the referee had his back, that he was doing that. But it was a very dangerous tactic for himself. It could have got him hurt and everything.
Or if the right referee, he could have been penalized for that. I mean, turning your back.
But the referee kept on saying, that was stopping it and everything.
Right. The crowd definitely, you could definitely hear the crowd not appreciate how much involvement the referee had. And it seemed that the referee was passing more judgment on Duarte and ready to take a point away from Duarte, if anything.
But we gotta be facts here, man. He looks worse. He got countered even easier. And when he was cut off, he took like 5 or 6 shots and everything. The body was open. Duarte was getting body shots in. He was getting countered to the face. Like, if you want to look at it, there was 2.5 rounds that Ryan Garcia completely ran and not threw a punch in those rounds.
Was that rounds 5 and 6?
Yeah. And to say that he was winning the first 4 rounds, he was not winning the first 4 rounds. Chris Mannix had him winning the first 4 rounds, and I don't know what the fuck that motherfucker.
I don't want to tend to agree with him. Listen, I don't want to tend to agree with him, but I think he did come up with those 4 rounds with just simple and effective boxing. One thing I did not like, Drew, is that other referees using the extended reach, other referees will call you on that. Where Ryan was using that to measure his shots, other referees can penalize you for that, or at least warn you, and they didn't seem to be doing that. He was using that to control the distance.
This was a terrible referee. This referee was fucking terrible.
I'm not sure he would get away with that in a championship fight against any of the 140-pound champions, using that measuring stick, to control the distance.
I'm going to be honest with you, Dave. Be honest with you right now. This dude is worse. He is way worse than he was. He cannot do a basic boxing style of this kid. And the thing about it is, I'm sorry, when the hell is the dude's going to fight a legitimate 140-pounder on an even playing field?
Well, I hope in his very next fight. Drew, I really hope in his very next fight. We had Arnold Barboza Jr., who was with Top Rank, who had like 4 or 5 legitimately solid fights at 140 pounds. He found himself ranked very high, could not get to deal with Jose Ramirez, could not get a deal with Regis Prograis. Top Rank parted ways, but they found him a new home with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, who just happily happened to pick him up. He is ranked almost across the board as a 140-pound contender with everybody. So there's your in-house fight. There's the very next opponent. It's not like Arnold Barboza is a dangerous big puncher like Ryan Garcia, but he's ranked and he's faced top 140-pound guys one by one, including former champions. That's your guy right there. Put him in with someone like Arnold Barboza Jr. because you're not going to get a shot. You do not deserve a shot against Rolly Romero and his WBA regular title with that performance. I mean, you stopped a guy from the lightweight division, essentially.
I'm sorry, but when you go ahead after that fight and you call out the Ross champion in that division, where you had Teofimo Lopez, Prograis winner of David Haney Prograis, you decide to call out Rolly Romero. You did that because you know you don't have a shot in hell of beating these other guys. And to be honest, man, Ryan Garcia is a cherry pick waiting to happen. He wants cherry pick fights. That's all he wants. Or he wants to bring up guys from lower weight classes and bring them up when they have like 9 pounds or something, like you said, and their power's gone. And I'm sorry, Ryan Garcia is a sorry excuse of a professional boxer.
And by the way, guys, remember next Monday, Drew will have a completely different take on Ryan Garcia as a result of the wager he lost on Tailgate Talk.
And I'll cross my fingers around my back while I say it.
Nando says Ryan going to fight the winner of Davies Barroso, then Rolly, anything else, and he may get retired. Well, I guess that is the plan. Or if he can escape fighting the Davies Barroso winner, then he can just go straight to Rolly. And I think we've been talking about this for some time, Drew, that was obviously the most logical path. I think we've talked about it for almost well over a year. Rolly Romero was recently sitting, side by side with Oscar just a few months ago, which obviously was that, he was being entertained to eventually to set up this fight, because Teofimo Lopez last week said, I got offered like $1.5 million. And he said, that's a trash offer, whether it's true or not. He let Oscar know, I ain't fighting Ryan Garcia for chump change. Teofimo don't do that. Teofimo's the champ.
I look at it like this. If that did turn out to be true, it's a bad business move by Oscar if he did offer him. But I think really at the end of the day, Team Ryan can refuse that fight and everything. Like, apparently they got saying who they fight and everything. I don't think Team Ryan wants any parts of Teofimo Lopez. So to figure, let's say we offer him money and he didn't take it, try to say that he ducked the fight. But we all know you ducked the fight. Like, he's not a real boxer. And I'm sorry. If anybody that supports him, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Ryan Garcia is not a real professional boxer. He's not a real prize fighter. He is a misfit. That's the closest thing he'll be ever winning a championship in boxing, is being a misfit champion. That is the closest thing he'll get to a fucking title.
Nando Lama says, maybe that was on purpose by De La Hoya. Smart move, Drew. Immediately after the fight, they were able to get, an interview question in with Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya basically alluded that he was very pleased and that he's going to be the promoter for Ryan Garcia I'm just paraphrasing, but I think he said for a very long time. And he looks forward to working with Ryan I could only think of that song. You remember that guy? You guys remember that song from the 80s, Huey Lewis and the News? I'm so happy to be stuck with you. Yes, it's true. They're stuck with each other. They are stuck with each other, Drew. I don't know how Ryan, if Oscar doesn't want to let him go, of his contract, I guess Ryan's just going to be having to be stuck with working with him and Bernard Hopkins. Although I did notice a change in tone at the end of the fight. He talked about his Christian faith and forgiveness. So I guess he's saying what? He forgives Oscar? Is that who he forgives?
I don't know. Like, to look at it like this, man, like, if Oscar's smart, set this kid up to get his ass kicked by
I even thought that was what was going down this weekend. I thought he was getting set up to get his ass beat, and it just backfired. There's a small sliver of possibility that still is true, that, you know, he wants to put Ryan Garcia in the toughest tests. And, you know, in this case, on Saturday, Ryan Garcia's speed and power prevailed. It saved him. Is he always going to have that lucky chance with his speed and power, Drew, of coming up with that big shot? Because it is a real threat. It saved him on Saturday. It saved him against somebody that, as Paulie Malignaggi said, that dude is just a sparring. He's a typical hardworking sparring partner. That's all he was, is a sparring partner. So I guess he knocks those kind of guys out.
He looked like shit Saturday night, Dave.
Well, there was some. Let's go through that quick list. And shout out to Modern King Boxing. Thank you for joining us. He says only 2 elite out of the original four kings, the 4 kings of the lightweight division, I think you're referencing, is Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez in modern days. And I will agree with that sentiment. Wait, actually, wasn't Tank also part of the 4 kings?
Some of them don't even deserve to be called fucking kings.
The deal with Tank is he's obviously not going to give a shit about unifying titles or having the major titles or being told who to defend titles against. But the other 2 guys, legitimately, Teofimo and Devin Haney, have done everything the exact way I would want in a fighter, and that's the old-fashioned way, by lining up everybody they're told to fight, every ranked contender, and coming up with the big wins when it mattered. And both of those guys have done that. This weekend, we're going to see Devin Haney, who's still technically undefeated. Teofimo did lose one time to Cambosos, and Haney's the only one that I could really say is undefeated. Ryan Garcia is still undefeated. Tank is undefeated. But Haney's had all the real challenges.
Well, he's not undefeated.
That's right. You're right. Ryan is not undefeated. Tank is still undefeated, but he doesn't give. Word is he doesn't even care if they give him the WBA title. He doesn't want it. Are you still hearing that? He
doesn't want to fight a real challenge. You know, Tank wants to make that quick $1 million, and that's it. That's what all Tank does. And I tell people, man, let me look at it like this. If I can go around the street, interview certain people, and ask them, would you pay to watch the Tank Davis fight? Over 50% of them will probably say, I stream that shit, because I'm not going to see him fight a top 5 fighter.
Okay.
And that's true. And like, you're going to say, I streamed that shit.
Some of the guys he fought are almost unknown at the time that he fights them. Like Isaac Cruz was relatively unknown. So was the Hector Garcia, the 130-pound champion, who was brought up from 130-pound division to fight him. I get what you're saying, Drew. I get what you're saying, and I do understand what the person chatting here is saying as well too. That if you look at the resumes, the strength of the resumes, it's really Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney that have challenged him. Both of them potentially come Saturday night could be world champions at 140 pounds, Drew. And so we have to look at the landscape. Let's look at the landscape now. These are all the title holders, Drew. The WBO lineal champ, Teofimo Lopez. The WBA, Rolly Romero, who, you know, somehow was handed that title when the referee said he had seen enough, even though Barroso was still very much in the fight. Matias, the Puerto Rican beast, the dark horse of the division, in my opinion. The inside fighting we saw Ryan Garcia employ on Saturday night, Drew, I've seen Matias now fight in real life. I've seen him fight last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. That dude would knock him the fuck out. That's just straight up. He will knock Ryan Garcia the fuck out if they fight. Regis Prograis, I've got a lot of questions about that. As we segue into the Regis Prograis Devin Haney fight, I'm really questioning where Regis Prograis is in his career with the last performance he gave, with the last 2 performances he gave, and as he approaches mid-30s, Drew, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Regis Prograis this Saturday.
I'm not sure either, man. I kind of hope he beats Devin Haney and everything, man, but I don't know. I just don't, know it yet. But We'll see. But I'm looking at like this 140-pound division. It's looking good, but I look at it like this, man. Anything can happen.
Well, the fight is going to happen in San Francisco, and we got a caller right now from the Bay Area, from the Yay area, 5 and Dime. Let's take this call because this weekend, this fight's going to be electrifying. San Francisco, the first time to have a world champion back, perhaps ever. You know, Andre Ward was from Oakland, so let's take this call. All right, 510, you were on the Shoe Shine.
Hey, what's up, Dave? What's up, Drew? How you guys doing? Nando.
What's going on, Nando? You ready for that big fight?
Yeah, dude, I got my tickets, man. I'm ready, man.
That's great.
I gotta say, Nando, thank you for calling into the show. I really appreciate it. You beat everybody to the punch and everything. Please be on here more often and everything. He's on time today, guys, so let's give him a fucking hand.
Yes, it's good to have Nando back on the show. Nando, I got to get your impression. Let's start off with the Ryan Garcia impression. He wins in a spectacular fashion. I mean, what more can we ask? Yet at the same time, it seems his harshest critics think he has regressed, that he has taken some new step backs. You know what I'm saying? Like there's parts of his game that have taken a step back, and yet he still pulls off a spectacular KO. So where are we today? Are his critics silenced, or do they still have a right to say, hold on, there's a lot we don't like what we're seeing here?
Well, I've always defended Ryan. I've called in to defend him, you know, on you guys' show, but I think I'm pretty much done with that because I see somebody regressing. That defense was awful, man. It was like something you would see from like a kindergartner that doesn't want to get hit, right? They turn their back to you and they don't want to get hit. You know, that's the defense he was employing as a professional.
Which we didn't.
I just think, I don't know, man.
Sorry. No, sorry. I was just wondering, like, because I don't remember him doing that Philly shell shoulder roll. People said that he has kind of employed it before, but not to this degree, not like what we saw Saturday.
Honestly, David, kind of like a continuation of the last few rounds with Tank Davis, because he was doing the exact same thing with Tank Davis. He was kind of turning his back to him. He made the fight really awkward till he finally got dropped. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, the last few rounds kind of were similar to what he did in the fight on Saturday, just turning around, fighting awkwardly, just not really having a defense for somebody coming in on him.
I gotta say, there was a God. I've converted Nando. I took Nando into the Church of Drew, and I blessed him, and I baptized him the right way, and Nando is seeing the light.
And you know what's funny about that, Nando, is that next Monday, it's off limits. Drew must sing highest praises for Ryan Garcia and Canelo Alvarez all next Monday. So we will be taking him to task on that. So Nando, are you excited? How excited on a 1 to 10 scale? You've been to plenty of fights. Devin Haney in San Francisco at the Golden State Warriors' new stadium. This is a big deal.
Honestly, dude, I'm probably more excited for the event than the actual fight. I know I always defend Haney also, but I'm not really the biggest fan of his. Sometimes I feel like he's not treated correctly, you know, for what he has done and what he's attempted. But as far as his style in the ring, it's not that great, and we're kind of all depending on progress to really bring it and to make the fight this time.
This is some interesting undercard. Hector Tanahara, who I believe was stopped by El Camarón William Zepeda, if I'm correct. Where's Sontel Media? He would know. I think Hector Tanahara was the one that was his career was on a really high trajectory, and then he ran into, I believe, it was El Camarón William Zepeda that knocked him out, right? And now he's here trying to rebuild his career. Obviously, he wasn't ready for somebody that dangerous. And then there's plenty of talk now that this women's fight is on this card as well. I believe, what is her name? Ebony Bridges, the Australian champ, makes her way to San Francisco, as well as some of these other fighters. So how does this undercard look to you for a Bay Area event?
Hopefully we get some good fights mixed in, but, you know, sometimes Eddie Hearn's undercards aren't that great, more often than not. So, you know, like I said, I'm just going because, you know, to support boxing in the Bay Area when it does, you know, come out here. And I'm hoping for a good fight in the main event. But, you know, I'm not really expecting anything. I'm going there, have a good time, have a few beers, watch all the fights. But, you know, if I'm looking forward to any fight on the undercard, no, I'm not.
The only thing I'm looking forward to on the Ebony Bridges fight and to see what type of lingerie she's gonna wear for the weigh-in.
Well, Drew,
Yeah,
you'll have to wait. You know, speaking of that sexualizing of boxing, did you guys notice that they were promoting the shit out of this new what is it, Fansly, which is basically like the competition to OnlyFans. Basically, the entire fight, they just kept talking about Fansly. I'm like, whoa, what's going on in boxing, man? Fansly, yeah, whatever that is now, it's the new thing boxers will be wearing on their shorts. But let's talk about this fight because Devin Haney now basically says he's relinquishing all these lightweight titles, which is going to lead way to somebody like Lomachenko potentially being world champion all over again. He's not coming back to 135. How strong of a chance do you give him of beating, and not necessarily upsetting, because I don't know what the odds are, of beating Regis Prograis, who I think is a much more dangerous puncher that Devin Haney has ever faced?
Sure. Yep.
All
right, I'll go. I'll go.
Yeah, you could go, Nando.
I'm sorry, Drew. I was waiting for you. So I'm favoring Devin Haney. Again, I always sound like I'm a Devin Haney like fanatic, but I'm not. I just fan of boxing. But I think Devin Haney's career is still trending up, and I think Prograis' career is kind of trending down. And that guy never really took a lot of big fights. After the Josh Taylor fight, he kind of disappeared and kind of withered away.
Yeah, he
had one
himself,
good fight against Zapata.
Unfortunately, he found himself having promoter issues. He even tried fighting on Trilla, and he fought on the Trilla card, and he was just kind of bouncing around between promotional vehicles, which led to a lot of inactivity. And that's part of the reason why today I'm saying, as I'm a Bay Area guy, I'm wearing a San Francisco Giants hat. Devin Haney's born in San Francisco. You would think I'm rooting for him. I always root for the best fight, And if it's Devin Haney's destiny Saturday to become a two-time world champion now, two-division world champion, if so be it. I think he can outbox Regis Prograis. It could be boring. If Regis Prograis tries to bring the fight to him, I think we've seen enough in the Lomachenko fight that Devin Haney will stand his ground and try to fight. It's going to be very hard for Regis Prograis to land or set up those big shots that he has on lesser opponents. And he hasn't landed those in a while. It's not like he's knocked out anybody recently. He went the distance in that home fight, in his homecoming fight in New Orleans. At this age, I'm not sure if... Yeah.
The fight before that, he knocked out Jose Cepeda.
Okay.
That fight, great. And he looked great in that fight. He looked great.
Did he look good in that fight? He looked good in that fight, but Jose Cepeda looked completely washed up too. And Jose Cepeda, no offense to him, he's been in tremendous wars like the ones he had with Baranchek that took a lot out of him and took a lot of punch resistance away from Jose Cepeda. So I don't know what to gather from that. I'm just going off his very last fight. It's like he aged overnight. And I think he's going to look like that fighter in New Orleans. It's going to lead to Devin Haney taking control of most of the rounds, if not all of the rounds. It's going to be very hard for, I think, Regis Prograis to catch him with that shot. That being said, he can always do that. I mean, he can prove us all wrong and drop Devin Haney. Drew, I'm going to go with you. What is the likelihood of Regis Prograis hurting Devin Haney? We've seen Jorge Linares do it.
It's very likely he can hurt Devin Haney.
Can he get to him with his guard?
But I'll be honest with you, I think the way this fight's going to go is going to be like a Kambosos fight. Kambosos won. I think he's going to clinch a lot, and I don't think he's going to let Regis get that power, unleash that power. It's going to be a boring fight. I think, because here's the thing. We're not going to know nothing until Devin takes a punch from a legitimate 140-pounder.
Oh, this is the day. This is the Saturday for it to happen.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Regis Prograis, one of his finest performances. You just mentioned the fight against Jose Cepeda, who was a legitimately tough contender at the 140-pound division. He fought from Fresno. He fought that champion. He fought Baranchek, and they exchanged a total of 8 knockdowns. What is Regis Prograis' best performance? Is it the one where he came up short against Josh Taylor?
You can
I guess it has to be, Dave.
What's that? I thought that was an exceptional fight, one that he could have easily, if that was stateside, been awarded the winner. That's when Josh Taylor was actually dangerous.
You know, when I watched that fight, the Prograis, Josh Taylor fight, I watched it live. It was like that boxing series fight, right? And I was actually rooting for Prograis to win the fight. I was rooting for him. And I still had Josh Taylor winning that fight by a couple rounds, you know? I think Josh Taylor took control of that fight in the middle rounds. I know there's been like a little narrative where he might have got ripped off. And it was a close fight. Could have gone either way. But I think Josh Taylor, in my opinion, won that fight fair and square.
I had Prograis winning 7-5.
Yeah, it was a tough fight. And that's what's going to come down to this Saturday night. With Devin Haney being local, with San Francisco not having a fight like that, I just see it very easily for the judges to be swayed by Devin Haney in a largely, the fan base is going to be heavily favored towards Devin Haney, almost entirely a Bay Area crowd. That's got to sway. It's going to have to sway the judges. So I'm just going to say it right out. Devin Haney wins this fight by decision Saturday night.
I pray to God that Prograis wins this fight, but it's probably not going to happen. But I'll be honest with you, I think this undercard sucks. The only thing I'm looking forward to is the lingerie, Eddie versus Rares. Andy Cruz, I'm sorry, Andy Cruz is a born experiment. I'm sorry. Eddie Hearn, you're trying to turn him into your Lomachenko, but the dude does not have pop to his punches to make shit exciting and everything.
I forgot Andy Cruz is there.
He's going to cruise to a decision. That's all he's going to do, but it's going to be a boring fucking fight.
Who's Andy Cruz fighting? Is he fighting Tanahara?
Straffon. Some guy I never heard of named Straffon.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. I'm not going to be high on fucking Andy Cruz because Andy Cruz is somebody. If you put him in there with the wrong guy, a guy that's a pressure fighter that can get through a defense with his activity and his volume and his power and everything, Andy Cruz is in trouble.
Well, we talked about Andy Cruz being fast-tracked. Obviously, Keyshawn Davis, the silver medalist, he started off his career 3-0 before actually fighting off Andy Cruz and going into the Olympics. He had already started his professional career. I think Andy Cruz is quite well ahead of his, the gold medalist at this point in their careers. But it sounds like from what Ryan is saying, Andy Cruz is fighting a guy that's 21-0. And if we're going to talk about Cuban Olympians, ESPN this Saturday, I had totally forgotten, guys. This fight was supposed to be in Lake Tahoe, but ESPN is doing a card, and it features someone that's very likable as the co-main event, and that's Xander Zayas fighting Jorge Fortea and Robeisy Ramirez in a World Featherweight Championship fight. This is some good TV too. Potentially showcase fights, but I think it might be good ESPN type TV stuff. And Robeisy Ramirez, he's got pop. Even though he's a Cuban fighter, Drew, at featherweight, this guy can knock out people. We saw him knock out that gold-haired Puerto Rican fighter. I forget his name. Anybody here know his name? The guy that has his own mascot?
It's what?
Oh, dude with the beard. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The gold beard dude?
Okay. Nova.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan says, my mistake. Cruz's opponent is Giovanni Strafon, who's 26-5 and 1 with 19 KOs. He's got a lot of knockouts, and he's got over 30 professional fights, so he's not a bum at all by any chance. So anyways, yeah, Robeisy Ramirez is someone that I'm interested in seeing this Saturday, of course. I think he's going to come up victorious. And ESPN's got those two world champions, man. They've got Robeisy Ramirez, and they happen to have El Venado Lopez, too, who, that guy, those two, when is that unification fight going to happen?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Ramirez was not going to beat El Venado Lopez. He's going to get knocked out.
I want to ask you guys, we've seen the 154-pound division make leaps and bounds and changes this year. This year we have Tim Tszyu cementing himself as a new champion. And Xander Zayas, we've seen Jesus Ramos Jr. come up short in a decision, which should have been like his coming out party to fight Tim Tszyu, but he lost that close decision in Las Vegas by potentially by his own doings. But where does Xander Zayas fit in this? But he's only like a year in age behind Jesus Ramos Jr. Why is his movement up the contender status going so slowly? Or am I the only one thinking it's slow? Nando, you think it's been slow?
Honestly, dude, like I've been rooting for him because it's always good when there's a Puerto Rican champion. It's good for the sport of boxing. But the last few times I've seen Xander Zayas, I haven't really been impressed, dude. I haven't seen the power, and I don't know, dude. He's starting to become a little more of a question mark to me, a little more of a suspect than a prospect to me.
Yeah, he should have already solidly have moved I'm sure he thinks of himself now as a contender, but it seems like he's going to be having the hardest time at Top Rank, not being able to fight these PBC fighters or even fighters over at the zone, but specifically the PBC fighter, the crop of fighters they have, having Tim Tszyu, Jesus Ramos Jr. We just saw the guy who beat Jesus Ramos. Who else is the towering Inferno? I mean, these are the guys you think of at that division at 154 pounds, and even other fighters like older fighters like Danny Garcia that's still fighting around 154. Xander Zayas needs to step it up and fight a former world champion at this point in his career, or somehow get a fight against somebody across the board that has a name, in my opinion. But this Saturday, he's fighting somebody, Jorge Fortea. He's got to keep winning by stoppage. He's got to keep showing growth to me. I'll appreciate that, because by next year, 2024, I think he's got to line himself up somehow for a title opportunity, somehow, some way. Nando, you still with us?
Yeah, dude, it would be a fun fight for him next year. Like if he can't get the PBC guys, I would say maybe not like early next year, but maybe later on next year would be Virgil Ortiz, man. Ortiz coming up from welterweight, Mexican versus Puerto Rico. I mean, why not, man? Something fun. That's
a huge fight, and I think Virgil Ortiz is getting ready to make his entrance into the 154-pound division January, potentially in Las Vegas. It's coming up right around the corner. I think our boy Fonzie 619 is saying, let's go check out Virgil, which I haven't seen him fight in person. And if he's healthy and gotten over this health issue, I'm excited to see him in that division. You're right about that. You think Bob Arum would sacrifice him? You think he's ready for somebody that good?
All the hype that he's had since day one, dude. I mean, he needs to show he's special sooner or later, and I'm hoping he does it this weekend, right?
Right.
Because, I mean, this guy's been on TV for a few years now. He's had a lot of hype behind him. I mean, you got to show you're special, especially at this level, man. You got to start knocking some of these guys out, man. To be honest, I think he's regressed, and I want to see a little more of him. I'm not saying maybe he got his man straight finally, but as of right now, I'm still a little bit skeptical of Xander Zayas. But yeah, dude, if he looks impressive in the next couple fights, why not, man? End of the year, two top-level prospects going each other, maybe an eliminator for one of the 154 titles. You never know, man. Why not?
Right, absolutely. Hey, Nando, I have one more caller on the show. I've got to end the show around 8:45. I appreciate you always. Please enjoy your time this weekend in San Francisco. I just hope for a great showing.
Me too, man. You guys, happy holidays, man. Thank you.
All right. That's Nando, everybody from the Bay Area. We got another call from the Bay Area. And like I said, we'll be wrapping up the show momentarily. Don't forget, Wednesday night, we got our football show where we do our picks. 925. He's on the shoe shine.
It's Lukey, man.
What's good? Our boy Lukey Boxing is on. Lukey, are you excited about Devin Haney, the return to a championship level fight in San Francisco? You're a Bay Area guy. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask this stuff because I don't really get excited about fights anymore. But it's nice to not have to travel and stuff, so that's good. But I don't know. I think life and everything around it. For a lot of people, boxing's their escape. Boxing's my balance. So it's like life mixed with boxing kind of intertwined. So for me, I'm more so looking to get through this week than I am like, man, I can't wait to go. So I hope it gives people the feelings I had when Andre fought Chad Dawson in Oakland. That was a fight I was excited for. I hope for people, it's relatively maybe 12 years since. Wow. I hope it gives people that same feeling, because But for me, it's like I've known Regis for a long time. I've known Devin Shoot since he sparred Sean Porter. So I don't know. It's hard for me to understand the magnitude of the fight because I've seen the evolution of both fighters over the course of time. But it's cool to hear that they've sold 18,000 tickets.
That's fucking amazing. Excuse my French. How is this going to fare when it's all said and done with Ryan Garcia having such big star power? And today, I was thinking today, I literally made a wager on Oscar Duarte pulling off the upset. And now Ryan Garcia, I said, I titled the show, is he silencing his critics? Is Ryan Garcia going to dominate the conversation where we're talking about a guy that's so heavily flawed? The people that follow the sport of boxing can see that he's so heavily flawed. And then you got gifted defensive wizards like Devin Haney. Does Devin Haney need to pull off a spectacular knockout? Can he just edge out a victory with good old sweet science on Saturday and be kept at the same level, in the conversation against somebody like Ryan Garcia?
I mean, you want me to be honest?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, always,
Because it's my mom's birthday and all that stuff, and she's chilling with me, and that's why I was late on the show. Ryan Garcia is largely unproven as a professional. He's taken three legitimate fights, maybe 4 with Carlos Molinas or Velez, but really largely unproven. He's more of like a child actor who did a lot of cool stuff. Like he hit the mitts really fast. He's sexy. A lot of young people tuned into him when they were probably on lunch break from Mr. Hallman's class in 5th period. You see this boxer guy, and it gets him going for boxing. But in terms of professional achievement, he hasn't achieved the same way guys like Devin, Tank, Shakur have. He's put there because he's the lowest risk, highest reward fighter. I compare him to like a Tim Tebow. I know you guys have like a football show. Tebow, to me, he was a great college football player. He wasn't that great of a pro, but he had a loyal fan base that maybe wasn't your traditional boxing fan base. Religion was a part of that, and also just the way he was an amateur. Ryan, good amateur, won. In fact, he won the youth amateurs over Brian Lua and Tiger Johnson in 2016. And, Christianity is a big theme, but we don't know if he's a good pro, right? So I say all that to say, and I know you have a heart out and stuff, is, Devin already is in a different category than Ryan. Ryan's always going to get brought up because I think every top fighter thinks they can beat Ryan, and they think they can make a lot of money fighting Ryan. So Ryan's just going to enter that conversation because of that. Devin just needs to simply win, because this is a 50-50 fight, maybe 45-55, one way or another. These are the type of fights you just got to win. And if you can win spectacularly, great. But as this fight gets closer, I think people are going to realize that this is not a bullcrap fight. This is a real fight. And sometimes these type of fights get ugly. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is ugly. And that's oftentimes when you have a legacy on the line and Hall of Fame and all that stuff, you can get a bad fight. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad fight, but guys put a lot of pressure on each other. And, the girls come out with the crop tops and the pleather leggings, and they look beautiful. And then I want to perform for them. And then they perform like poo-poo. So Devin just has to win, first and foremost. Devin has to win, and Devin has to not get booed at home. Those are the obligations Devin needs to fulfill. Beyond that, I think everything else, I think we have such a low standard for our fighters right now. Pretty much every young fighter is embarrassing to certain degrees. So as long as you win, you're just kind of keeping up. I don't think anyone is kind of standing out just yet as like, this is the face of the modern generation, because these amazing athletes are kind of embarrassing at times, to the point where you want to look the other way. But yeah, that's what I think.
Lukey, we just saw Regis Prograis perform in his hometown. It was his homecoming performance after becoming champion, and he accepted the fight to come here to the Bay Area. You feel like Devin Haney is going to succumb to that pressure to put on a show, or he's just that good that he's going to stick to to the basics, stick to the sweet science to get the win?
I mean, look, you never know, because hometown fights are hard, because like you're gonna have like your middle school teacher there, and you're gonna have your favorite rapper, and then Steph Curry's gonna be there. Like, they're hard because like there's gonna be, you don't want to get your ass kicked in front of everybody you know, and everybody that in the building is probably taking a form of ownership of you, because you're gonna be announced from the hometown. So even if they don't know you, just by showing up in the arena, they want the guy from the area to win just by default, right? But I mean, I think that this fight comes down to how much. To me, I'm going to compare it to a fight, and you guys are going to laugh at me, okay? So in the chat, please don't laugh at Uncle Lukey. I cry, and I'm very sensitive. If Devin were to win this fight, which he probably has a very good chance of winning, it would be like the way Lomachenko beat Gary Russell Jr., though I don't think Devin Haney is the boxing mind of like a Lomachenko per se. I think it would be about foot speed. He would beat Regis Prograis based on foot speed. He'd beat him based on his intelligence in the ring, but I don't think it would be necessarily a jab per se. I think people look at his jab. Devin's got a solid jab, but I don't think the jab is what is the most dangerous thing about Devin. I think what's the most dangerous is he has very good foot speed, and he's very good at staying the course on a mission and not deviating from a plan. A lot of fighters get bored and change courses to entertain themselves. And I would say that Devin has tremendous foot speed, tremendous power, and if he finds a method of winning, he will stay in that method of winning and not deviate from it, no matter what the crowd says, no matter what the opponent says. He has a lot of maturity in the sense that he can stay composed. Because, for example, Ryan Garcia did one round, wins a round against Tank, and then he even confesses, I got bored. Devin would never get bored like that.
He did say that.
But I don't. Yeah, and it's like, to me, Devin's one of the most underrated aspects of Devin is he stays focused for every minute of every round. The only unanswerable question I have about Devin, which I think he'll answer in this fight, is at times he is either, I don't know if it's fatigue or focus, around that 10th round, things have gotten squirrely in a couple of fights. The
Like the
Linares
Jorge
fight,
Linares
the Lomachenko fight. The Lomachenko fight, they got a little squirrely in that late rounds. This is going to be interesting to tell us a little bit more about that, because I think people see those shots landing on Devin and they go, oh, see, he's susceptible. But if he's not somewhat the guy they say he is, he loses those fights. Like Juan Ma Lopez lost those fights when those punches landed. So this is the guy that if he's not fully the superstar people say he is, Regis will land a punch, and he'll probably land a punch in that time frame. Then Devin will go down and he won't get up. And if Devin's who the promotion says he is, he's not going to go down, or if he goes down, he's going to get up. And I think that's the story of the fight. Is it's not about the strategic elements of how are they going to fight. I think most people believe Devin's going to have athletic advantages and build up a points advantage, but at some point Regis is going to land something, and it's probably going to be late, and his power translates because he knocked out Sean Zepeda in the 11th round. That's a real puncher.
It's a really dangerous proposition too.
And to me, that is the fight. Is I think we're going to look at a fight where Devin builds a lead, but Regis's greatest gift is, I don't think Regis loses self-belief in himself if he's down on the scorecards. I think he believes, okay, I'm going to get on him. I'm going to break him. I'm going to break him. I'm going to break him. So I think this is a very interesting fight, because I think both fighters truly believe they're going to enter and win the fight. And I don't think we get that many fights at the high level where both guys truly believe they're going to win the fight.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to put you on the quick hot seat because I did promise everyone I would be ending the show at 8:50. Lukey, I'm going to put you on the hot seat, and Drew too. WBO champ is Teofimo Lopez. WBA's Raleigh Romero. We have Subriel Matias and Regis Prograis. Presuming Devin Haney wins, how do you rank these four champions?
Me or Drew?
Oh, I'm gonna go with you first, Lukey. 1 through 4. Who is the top dog at 140-pound division?
Okay, I'd say T.O., Matisse, Haney, and who's the other champion?
Raleigh Romero.
Then, yeah, that would be how I'd rank them.
Drew, rank them real quick.
Tell you the truth, you can't even put Haney in as a champion yet, so you have to put Prograde, T.O., Tease, and Wally.
Yeah, I think so. Drew, you still think Haney's going to pull it off potentially?
Haney can win, but the thing about it is, I think Haney has to make it a boring fight.
All right. That being said, that he runs a risk of a lot of being booed at home under a home audience. I'm excited for this Saturday, guys. I appreciate everybody tuning in.
I want to say
Yes.
one thing before you close. I think that one thing that I think about this fight, and Drew hit it on the head, like the word boring. I think that people are going to be surprised that I think Devin Haney is going to be the bigger man on fight night. And another story, I always talk about story of the fight because I grew up with HBO boxing, right? And that was what they always say, the story of the fight. I tune in on Saturday, sitting there with my grandpa, and we hear about the story of the fight, the drama of the fight. I went to school all week to see this fight. Is Devin going to be able to hold Regis in the clinch? That's a story within the fight because Regis, if he cannot hold Regis inside and be effective for multiple rounds holding him, things are going to get squirrely. But I think that what's going to be interesting is I'm pretty sure Devin's going to be bigger than Regis in the ring on fight night. And I don't think many people are expecting that.
I think you're right about that. And we know that Regis Prograde can fight exceptionally well on the inside game. And that's a great point. Will Devin Haney be bigger than him and be able to be stronger than him come Saturday night? I'll be looking forward to that weigh-in on Friday. Appreciate everybody riding with the Shoe Shine. Make sure you follow our boy Lukey Boxing on YouTube, Pro Box TV too. He writes there as well as nyfights.com. You guys can purchase his book on Amazon. It's available on Amazon, and make sure you subscribe to his channel. Lukey, thanks a lot for the call, bro. I appreciate you, homeboy, and enjoy the fight this weekend.
Yep.
That's Lukey. Drew, your final thoughts?
Well, I want to bring something up. November 25th, this past November 25th, there was a Philly-based boxer that went by the name of Samuel Tay, which was who had the nickname Tsunami, that immigrated from Liberia, where he was born in, and reside in Philadelphia. So this guy was a journeyman boxer. He had a record of 19-5. He fought fighters like Montana Love and Brandon Lee.
Big names. Those are big names on his record, Drew.
And he had a record of 19-5. But it's not the only thing he did was boxing. He made a living. He had a regular job. And if anybody knows Philly, that Philly's main transportation unit is SEPTA. Well, Samuel worked at SEPTA along with boxing on the side and everything. Lived a life of tragedy, losing a lot of loved ones and everything, family man and everything. So this past November 25th, Samuel went to Delaware to visit his mother and his son, or his son or daughter. And there was a shooting, and Samuel unfortunately passed away from the shooting. And he leaves behind a child. And this is the tragedy of someone. Here's the thing. If you know about Philly, if you know about around Philly and everything, Philadelphia is rough. Philadelphia has high crime rate, high murder rate and everything. Some parts of Delaware are the same thing and everything. There's a lot of violence and everything. Tell you the truth, is a good percentage you could be a victim of crime. I don't really put my business out there like that, but I was a victim of a crime this past June. I was actually robbed at gunpoint right around the corner from my house and everything. But I'll be honest with you, like if we're looking at shit like this, guys like this that try to do the right thing passed away due to gun violence, and he leaves behind a legacy of a hardworking man. Guys trying to build a career in boxing for himself and to make money doing a blue collar job and everything. And the thing that really makes me mad is I normally vote. I know Democrat. I vote Democrat. I really rarely vote Republican or anything. But when we're in a country that has a president, instead of protecting our people and doing stuff and putting money towards inflation, gun violence, overall violence around not only in Philly but around the country, instead of doing that and putting the money, you chose to put the money in protecting in a war with the Russians and Ukraine and the Israelis and the Palestinians, where we need a lot more help than they do. This country is in a lot of debt. We're heading into inflation, and there is violence nonstop, and kids are even get a hold of guns. And it seems like the high politicians, including our president, is not doing nothing. They'd rather be looked at the world as humanitarian, saving other countries and not their own. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. A lot of people share that opinion with me, and I vote Democrat. And it's a shame that people like that, like Samuel, like people like kids have to go through this. Kids getting shot every day, getting killed every day. Kids being worried about going outside the house every day and hoping that they can at least go to school and not worry about getting shot and everything, man. Like, this is the stuff that pisses me off about this country every day.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating, Drew. I hear you. And I've never thought that we would hear a political rant from Drew. And I'm not joking about that. Rest in peace to that boxer, Drew. And it reminds me very sadly, when I did still live in San Francisco, the gym I used to work out of, you guys in the MMA world may have heard of Fairtex. They're one of the best Muay Thai schools in the world. One of the premier kickboxing champions who taught at that school ran out to defend his car, I think a carjacking or his car being stolen in downtown San Francisco. And if you think things have always been bad, that was like close to 10 years ago. And he was shot defending his property, shot and murdered and killed right there in front of the Fairtex kickboxing school. But in San Francisco, Drew, all you got to do is watch a YouTube video on San Francisco and what's going on there in that city. And it's no different than what's going on in the mean streets of Philadelphia, man. I pray for that family, Drew. I pray for the family of the guy. Rest in peace. It's very difficult time.
I look at it like this, Dave. I'm not a big Trump fan, but if you want to judge it, the one thing he did, we got money off Trump and everything. We got money, we got checks and everything. And like what this guy does, gas prices went up and everything. Inflation's happening. Like if you're a president of a country, you gotta do right by your people. You can't do right by other countries' people. That's the main thing. Like we're struggling. Like, tell you the truth, if you look at it like this, the cost of living in a lot of places is bad, and people are making like 50 grand a year and they still struggling.
It's absolutely true. So, very nice to have you, Gail. I can't wait to have you back on our show. I know that I reached out to you. Hopefully we can get together and come on, make an appearance on the Shoe Shine. I know that you're involved heavily in San Diego's homeless crisisness. Drew sees it every day being a city worker in the city of Philadelphia. And I got out of the Bay Area because the crime and so many other things that people are experiencing, and just like Drew experiences on a daily level. I appreciate everybody for being here tonight on tonight's Shoe Shine episode. San Francisco will be in the all the talk this weekend in the world of boxing. I'm excited for San Francisco to get potentially a world champion back to the Bay Area, and Devin Haney. And we'll be talking about that next Monday. Wednesday, of course, we have Tailgate Talk. And for those of you still watching, Drew lost a bet, 49ers versus Eagles. So next Monday, he cannot say a single bad thing about Ryan Garcia or Canelo Alvarez. So we're going to have fun with that next Monday on the Shoe Shine. All right, peace out, everybody. I appreciate everybody. We'll see you next Monday on the Shoe Shine. Drew, peace out, homie.